Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Reverend Leah Alvarado. So glad to be with you today. Welcome to our weekly inspiration, where we come together every Tuesday and Thursday. I pick a different passage from a new thought teacher and author, and I add a little prayer in there and with an affirmation that you can take out into your life and actually use. And so today's topic is one that I've not brought in to Weekly Inspiration yet, and it is about money, our relationship with money. And I think this is a topic that we perhaps could all use a little attention around. Yeah, I suspect I'm not the only one. So I thought it would be a good one today. It's by John Randolph Price in a wonderful little book called The Abundance Book. If you have not checked this book out, it's a sweet little book, and it's actually a process that it's a 40-day prosperity plan. And so I'm going to read a passage from his book. When you focus your attention on getting money, you are actually shutting off your supply. You must begin this very moment to cease believing that money is your substance, your supply, your support, your security, or your safety. Money is not, but God is. When you understand and realize this truth, the supply flows uninterrupted into perfect and abundant manifestation. You must look to God alone as the source and take your mind completely off the outer effect. If you look to your job, your employer, your spouse, or your investments as the source of your supply, you are cutting off the real source. In fact, if you look to any human person, place, or condition for your supply, you are shutting down the flow and limiting your good. Do you want more money, more prosperity in your life? Then shift from a consciousness of effects, materiality, to a consciousness of cause, spirituality. When you give power to an effect, you are giving it your power. You are actually giving the effect power over you. Does money have power? If you say yes, then you have given it your power and you have become the servant. You have reversed the roles. The inner presence is truly the moneymaker. Your thinking, reasoning mind is not. Your only source is the God presence within you. If your mind is on the source, the cause, the supply flows freely. If your mind is on the effect, you block the flow. The more personal you can become in your relationship with the true source of your money, and the closer the relationship to your God self, the greater the abundance in your life. So I'm curious if any of you, if you have read this book, or what your relationship is with money and what your experience with all of that has been, positive or negative. I think this is a topic that, so many of us were raised to think of money as a negative thing. Money is the root of all evil, right? We've all heard that. And it really is it's a spiritual practice. And unless you have read a book like this, or maybe Edwene Gaines's book, she has a wonderful book, I'm looking at it right now, called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. There's some great books out there where they look at prosperity through a spiritual lens, recognizing that God is our source, that it's not our job, it's not our investments, it's not our 401k, that it's actually God. And what a beautiful way to look at money, to really see it through that lens and that perspective. And once we do that, it completely shifts not only our relationship with money, but then what shows up in our life. And we can give more freely without, the energy of hanging on tightly, and that fear of lack and limitation and scarcity. So there's really so much possibility. There's a lot of possibility there that for each of us as we change and shift our relationship with money. I'm going to put into the chat our reflection questions for today, and it's all about our relationship and what that is. And if you are here with me today, feel free to say hi. We'd love to connect with you and see you in the chat. And so our first question is, What is your relationship? What's your relationship with money right now? What is it like right now? How do you interact with money? How do you engage with money? Do you find that when you go to buy something or purchase something, are you hesitant? Do you think, gosh, I don't know if I have the money, or you feel guilty about spending the money or concerned about spending the money on things outside of your day-to-day things, outside of groceries, or perhaps maybe it is about groceries. Maybe it is about your day-to-day living expenses that are providing or causing some stress. So just take a moment to think about what your current relationship to money is. Is it, when you think about it, does it generate fear or does it generate joy? So just notice that. And if you care to comment in the chat, would love to see that. The next question is, are you doing anything to block the flow of money and prosperity in your life? Just checking in for a moment, maybe even closing your eyes and asking that question. Am I doing anything to block the flow of prosperity and abundance in my life? Is there anything that I am doing? Perhaps it's a thought that is blocking that flow. It's a fearful thought. It's a limiting thought that comes in, and as soon as we have the thought, and then we go into fear, and then we freeze up. We don't quite have that same flow of energy as we, write that check or pay that bill or whatever it may be. A wonderful practice to get into when you are paying a bill is to say thank you. Write thank you on the memo line on the check, or as you're hitting that button on your computer to pay the bill, sending energy of thanksgiving, energy of gratitude as you're paying that bill, and or going to buy your Starbucks coffee or whatever it is. Just pausing for a moment and just saying thank you. Just saying thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God, for this abundance in my life. Thank you, Amber. Money is great right now, but I do feel the future fear. It comes and goes. Challenging to always relax into the knowing that Spirit is unlimited and always giving to me. Yes, it is, isn't it? There's those moments when we feel we're in that divine flow and we feel abundant and prosperous, and then the fear creeps in. And when that fear creeps in, we just take a breath. We just take a breath and we breathe it out. And we move into our hearts and we drop into that space and we connect with the divine that is within us. And we remember that we aren't alone. We remember that we're supported always by that divine presence. And we continue to return to that place of trust, return to trust, return to faith. And we may have to remind ourselves to come back to that place of trust and faith over and over and over again. But the more that we do that, the more we can let go and let God, which is a beautiful thing. So let's move into prayer right now as we think about our relationship with money, as we think about our relationship with prosperity and abundance in our life, and what our current relationship is. And so I am knowing that whatever that is for us right now, whether it's needs a little bit of tension or whether we are abundant and it is flowing into our life freely, I am knowing that our relationship is one that is filled with and surrounded by the essence of God, is surrounded by that, the light and the love that is Spirit. That we are continually, just like any relationship, we are strengthening that relationship. We are able to move into a greater place of trust and faith and simply letting go and allowing God to do God's perfect work in our life. That indeed God is the source of our abundance. God is the source of the abundance of flowers and trees and all the beauty that we are seeing right now with our eyes as we look out into the world this time of year where everything is growing and flourishing. The abundance that we see and witness in nature, that same abundance is also possible for each one of us as we shift our relationship with money and as we recognize it as energy, not as something that isn't attainable, but it's an energy that can flow through us. It can flow into our lives, and as it flows to us, we then give. So there's this beautiful energy of receiving and giving and receiving and giving. And so I am knowing that each one of us is blessed with a new relationship with money. And that when fear arises, when fear comes up, that we are able to easily move into that place of trust and faith and know that God is right there providing us with everything we need, that there is nothing that goes, that there's just nothing in our life that isn't given to us by the divine, that divine gives us so many beautiful and amazing gifts, and we gladly receive and trust that there is this divine flow always. And so with gratitude in our hearts, as we connect with this truth, as we remember this truth, as we release fear, as we breathe out, we let all of that fear go. And we simply join together with the divine that always says yes in our lives, that is right there with us, supporting us, reminding us, and helping us to move back into that place of faith and trust. And so with that, I release this and I let it go. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. So I'm going to put into the chat our affirmation. And this affirmation came from the book. I took a couple of them and combined them together. There's some great stuff in here, so highly recommend if you want to take a challenge and do this 40-day prosperity plan. It's pretty awesome. So let's read our affirmation together today. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. I keep my mind and thoughts off the effects, and I place my entire focus on God within as the only cause of my prosperity. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. I am now aware, and I am now in the flow. So feel free to cut and paste that and use bits of it or all of it if it supports you this week. And I look forward to being with you again on Thursday. I hope you have a blessed day. Great to be with you. Namaste. Bye, everyone.